Yeah, this was going to be a rock, but I decided to cut it down a little bit. Too big. I like the feel of the painting, how it does this, and then this, and then this, and then this. But we do this, that's fine, this is okay, we come to here, and oh, it stops because this rock joins these two. In some cases I think it would be fine. You know, kind of helps to frame this area, but boulder and boulder, no. I want this stone to be less important. Oops, that's a bit green. How's that? Yeah, that'll work. I think we can just do that. Subdue it instead of putting a solid piece of something there. I think that'll probably work. It's out of the sun. Actually, let me put let me just put a hint of warmer light. Okay, it's not that warm, but oops, this is pretty clumsy. What am I doing with these little... I've actually undermixed my paint on those strokes. And just allow me to carry that over here as well. There we go. Now we have a little bit of contrast going on here. Strong forward shape. And if I am going to leave that rock there, let me carry, you know, it's sort of, what would you call it? This is still stone very close to the surface under here, but there's a lot of lichen and moss growing on things. And some debris covering, you know, some topsoil covering things instead of these barren rocks here. Going to revisit this rockier stuff as we come down here again, but for the time being, maybe what I'll do is, this is such a sliver. How about if we carry it down a little bit? Yeah, let's do that. That's too light. Little hard blob of something in there. No, that's too dark. We're suffering from Goldilocks syndrome here. One too light, the other too dark. That might be just right. How about that? This is the third bowl of porridge. Okay. I think we can afford to you know, I have this dark against light. The highest drama is really here now, isn't it? So I'm probably going to have a more gentle light on here, or rather maybe not so much on here, but on here. This will be the dark area. You know, this will be the counterweight to this diagonally. And so I don't want to go, well, you know, this rock can afford to be fairly dark if we're going to catch a little more light again down here. So maybe we'll do that. Bedrocks and boulders. Is it bed knobs and broomsticks? Alright, so let's use a little bit of our colors. Let's borrow some of the colors from up here. We have ultramarine blue, raw umber, little bits of burnt sienna coming down into here. We're using raw umber, alizarin crimson, a bit of ultramarine blue over here as well. Coming into this grassy area, we have raw umber, yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and bits of white. But again, they're so intermingled. There's no one area that sort of stands out with a specific color. It's kind of a bit of everything. So we're going to borrow these colors for this rock. Keeping the values low, not that low. Just not getting too strong. We don't want too much strength there. A little bluer. Adding some bits of white. And a little bit bluer again. A little bluer in there. Okay. Let me get a stronger stroke of white in there. Or white. Stronger stroke of that sort of dirty green. I think that helps. Have to be so careful when you're laying your paint on, because of course you're laying it on with the tip, but I'm pushing enough I'm applying enough pressure to the blade that I want the blade to bend back a little bit and apply paint. But if I go a fraction of an inch closer, I'm putting the shoe of the knife, or the heel of the knife, against it, and then I'm besmirching other lines. We don't want that. We do not want that. All right. Just going to have a little stand up and back up. Have a look. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're still heading in the right direction. You know, I might just take this sort of lichen grass, not grass, really foliage, ground cover of sorts, and put a little more variety there. I might just bring it down here a little more. I don't know. We'll see. Haven't decided yet. But I do like that we put this triangle in here, you know, helping to maintain introduction from distant shapes to foreground shapes. On a vertical painting, you kind of have to watch it. Some subject matter, some scenes lend themselves to having a horizon, you know, and lines across. That's fine. That's not the case here. Any line that goes right across the painting on this one, because it's such a, you know, blue, 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 that sort of painting. That's a technical term, by the way, the blue, blue. Will seem like an outlier, and you'll lose unity when you. If I were now to lay, you know, if this close-up boulder did not stop this line before it reached the end of the canvas, and if this rock did not impede this line from cutting across, or impede this whole area from cutting across, we would have quite a long vertical shaft going almost from one end to the other, or completely from one end to the other to the canvas, which I don't think would serve the scene very well. Now, I had the rock larger. I liked that on its own. But it sort of gave me the impression, and I'm often guilty of doing this, when I stood back and looked at what I'd drawn in with the dark paint, that it was like you wanted to look up here, but it stopped you. The eye stopped you right there. Now you can look past these two areas, which will be quite unimportant, and then you can just sort of go up the slope into the sky. All right. Anyway, you can see what's going on there. I'm just playing. I'm grooming and playing. I'm really, really enjoying this painting. I think it's the first one was a sort of a study, very loose. This one's not quite as loose. It's more of a painting, as you might describe it. Let's square off briefly. You know what? You can't see that very well. I can't see that very well. So we'll just drop it. That'll do the job. There, we have less glare now. I intensified the sky a little bit, put a few shots of much higher value in there. I think the painting is doing what it's supposed to do. Have a good weekend, guys.